The Watch What Happens live studio was a glittering den of chaos, its sleek bar and vibrant purple backdrop pulsing with energy as the audience roared with anticipation, the cheeky theme music fading to usher in a blockbuster segment. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, strode onto the stage in a chic ensemble, her poised smile drawing wild cheers from the Bravo crowd. She was there to promote her Netflix series with Love, Meghan and her as-ever lifestyle brand, but the real buzz was her reunion with Andy Cohen, the Bravo kingpin who'd interviewed her on her 2022 Archetypes podcast and later regretted not booking her for WWHL during her Suits days. Andy, perched on his host chair with a martini in hand, kicked things off with his signature smirk. "Meghan, welcome to the clubhouse. You're out here cooking, branding, and living the Montecito dream. How do you keep it all so perfect?" The crowd cheered, but Meghan's smile held a cautious edge as she settled into the guest chair. "Andy, I just focus on authenticity, but I'm betting you're about to stir the pot," she said, her voice smooth yet wary. The audience laughed, and Andy leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with mischief. "Stir the pot? Oh, honey, it's what I do." "But, Meghan, your show's all about this idyllic life. Don't you worry it's a beat a broken bar too polished for the real world?" The question echoed critiques of her curated image, and Meghan's eyebrows shot up, her tone sharp but polished. "Too polished, Andy? I'm sharing my truth to connect, not to pose, and unlike some who thrive on drama." The crowd gasped, catching the jab at Andy's Real Housewives empire, and his grin tightened, his voice playful yet pointed. "Drama, Meghan? You're the one who brought royalty to the world. Don't act shy now." The studio buzzed with tension, and the bartender froze mid-pour, as the cameras zoomed in on Meghan's steely gaze and Andy's raised eyebrow. Meghan leaned forward. "Royalty? I'm telling my story, Andy, not manufacturing feuds like your housewives." The audience roared, split between those who loved Meghan's poise and those who lived for Andy's shade. Andy, unfazed, sipped his martini. "Feuds? You wrote a memoir and did a Praha. Don't tell me you're above a little Bravo chaos." Meghan's jaw clenched, her voice rising. "Above it? I'm here to talk my work, Andy, not to be your next reality star." The crowd cheered, some clapping for Meghan's fire, others murmuring at Andy's boldness. The producers, watching from the control room, exchanged nervous glances. This was veering off script, and fast. Andy tried to pivot. "Let's talk with Love, Meghan, it's got heart." But Meghan cut him off. "No, Andy, let's talk about why you're poking at my life like it's a Bravo reunion." The audience gasped, and Andy's face flushed, his voice sharp. "Poking, Meghan? This is why I ask the real questions. Don't get all regal on me." Meghan's smile was gone. "Regal? You're painting me as some out-of-touch duchess. Andy, I'm real, and I'm not here for your cheap shots." The stage was a powder keg, the crowd fueling the fire, as two media titans clashed under the neon lights of the clubhouse. As Watch What Happens Live returned from a commercial break, the studio was a pressure cooker, the audience buzzing with excitement after the fiery opening exchange between Meghan Markle and Andy Cohen. The purple lit set felt almost ironic against the simmering tension, as Andy tried to reset the mood with his trademark charm. "Welcome back, Bravo fans. Meghan Markle's in the clubhouse, and we're getting spicy." But Meghan, seated with her arms crossed, wasn't in the mood for pleasantries. Her eyes locked on Andy. "Spicy's one word for it, Andy. You've got a lot to say about my life, so let's hear it," she said, her voice dripping with challenge. The crowd gasped, and Andy leaned forward, his smile strained but playful. "Meghan, I'm just curious. Your Netflix show's all about this perfect Montecito vibe, cooking and gardening. Don't you worry it's a beat a broken bar unrelatable for most folks?" The question was sharp, echoing critiques from web posts about her polished image, and Meghan's jaw tightened. "Unrelatable, Andy? I'm sharing my passions to inspire, not to flaunt, and unlike your shows that bank on catfights," she fired back, her tone cutting through the applause. The audience erupted, some cheering Meghan's poise, others murmuring at her jab. Andy, unfazed, raised an eyebrow. "Catfights? Meghan, you've spilled more tea than a housewives reunion. And don't act like you're above the drama." The jab was pointed, and Meghan's voice rose. "Above drama? I'm telling my truth, Andy, not scripting fights for ratings like you do. The crowd roared, and the bartender tried to cue a light laugh, but the tension was palpable. Andy, sensing the shift, tried to pivot. Meghan, your fans love your hustily let's talk as ever. But Meghan waved him off. No, Andy, let's talk about why you're painting me as some disconnected royal. You know my story's deeper than that. The accusation landed like a punch, and Andy's grin faltered, his tone sharpening. Painting you, Meghan? I'm just asking what fans want to know. You're the one getting defensive. The audience was in a frenzy, some chanting Meghan, while others clapped for Andy's audacity. Meghan leaned forward, her voice booming. Defensive? You're implying I'm faking my authenticity, Andy, like I'm some Bravo caricature? The crowd gasped, and Andy's face reddened, his voice trembling with frustration. Caricature? Meghan, I'm your fan, but you're acting like I'm attacking your whole life. Meghan's eyes narrowed, her tone icy. You are attacking me, Andy, turning my work into a punchline. I thought you'd get it, given our talk on archetypes. The nod to their 2022 podcast stung, and the studio was chaos, the audience on its feet, as the producers signaled frantically for the band to play. The music started, but it couldn't drown out the drama. Andy, his martini glass trembling, fired back. Get it, Meghan? I gave you a platform then, but now you're acting too big for WWHL. Meghan stood, her hands on her hips. Too big? You're using me for ratings, Andy, and I'm not here for it. The crowd roared, and Andy stood too, his voice booming. Ratings? Meghan, you chose the spotlight. Don't cry foul when I ask real questions. The audience gasped, and the cameras stayed locked on the two, capturing every moment of the escalating feud. Meghan's face contorted with fury. Real questions? You're throwing shade to look clever, Andy. I'm done. The producers, now in full panic, signaled for security, but the stage was a powder keg, and the fuse was burning fast. The Watch What Happens Live studio was a tinderbox, the air crackling with the heat of the escalating clash between Meghan Markle and Andy Cohen, two media powerhouses locked in a verbal duel that had the audience on the edge of their seats. Meghan, now standing, loomed over the set, her dress catching the neon lights as she pointed at Andy. You think you're slick, Andy, turning my life into your Bravo circus, but I'm not your housewife to grill. The crowd roared, split between those who admired Meghan's fire and those who lived for Andy's shade. Andy, standing too, matched her intensity, his voice sharp. Circus? Meghan, you brought the drama with your tell-all, so don't act shocked when I ask about it. The jab was brutal, echoing critiques of her Oprah interview, and Meghan's voice boomed. Ask? You're accusing me of faking my life, Andy, when I'm just trying to build something real. The audience gasped, and the bartender tried to lighten the mood with a clink of glasses, but the noise was drowned out by the crowd's cheers. Andy, his eyes glinting, fired back. Build something? Meghan, your show's a glossy fantasy. Don't blame me for calling it out. The crowd gasped, and Meghan's face reddened, her voice trembling with fury. Fantasy? I've faced more scrutiny than your housewives combined, Andy, and I'm still standing. The insult was a direct hit, and Andy's smile vanished, his tone icy. Scrutiny? You chose the spotlight. Meghan, don't cry foul when I do my job. The studio was chaos, the audience on its feet, as the producers frantically signaled for calm. Meghan, her fists clenched, snapped. Your job is to twist my story into clickbait, Andy, and I'm sick of it. The crowd roared, some chanting Meghan, while others shouted Andy. As the tension skyrocketed, Andy, his hands on his hips, shot back. Clickbait? You gave us the script. Meghan, don't get mad when I read it. Meghan's voice rose to a shout. Read it? You're attacking my authenticity, Andy, like I'm some scripted villain. The audience gasped, and Andy's eyes narrowed, his voice booming. Villain? I'm holding you accountable. Meghan is something you're not used to. The jab referenced her royal exit, and Meghan took a step closer, her voice a low growl. Accountable? You're just chasing ratings, Andy, and I'm not your pawn. The crowd was in a frenzy, sensing the climax, as Andy fired back. Pawn? This is WWHL, Meghan, if you can't handle the clubhouse, there's the door." Meghan's eyes flashed with fury, her voice a shout. "Handle it? You're disrespecting my truth, Andy, and I won't stand for it." The audience held its breath as Meghan took another step toward the wings, her voice a dangerous whisper. "I trusted you once, but you've crossed a line." Andy, unfazed, leaned forward. "Crossed a line? You brought the drama. Meghan, don't run now." The challenge was a spark in a powder keg, and Meghan's chest heaved, her voice a growl. "Run? I'm done with your games, Andy." She slammed her hand on the bar, the sound echoing through the studio, and turned toward the wings, her heels stomping against the floor. The audience roared, some cheering her exit, others booing Andy's audacity. As security moved in, unsure whether to follow, the cameras stayed locked on Meghan, capturing the moment that would dominate headlines. The producers, in full panic mode, signaled for the band to play, but the music couldn't drown out the chaos of the showdown. As Meghan Markle's silhouette vanished into the wings of the Watch What Happens live studio, the set was a maelstrom of chaos, the audience's cheers and boos blending into a deafening roar that echoed through the neon-lit clubhouse. Andy Cohen stood behind his bar, his face a mix of shock and defiance, as the band played a frantic riff to cover the awkward silence. "Well, bravo fans, that's what happens when you get real in the clubhouse," he quipped, trying to regain control, but his voice betrayed a hint of unease. The crowd laughed, but the tension lingered, some chanting Meghan in solidarity, others applauding Andy's boldness. Backstage, the producers were in a frenzy, their headsets crackling with urgent orders as they debated whether to cut to a pre-taped segment or let Andy ride out the storm. The cameras, still rolling, caught Andy sipping his martini, his smirk returning as he addressed the audience. "All right, y'all, Meghan's passionate, and we love Fana, let's give her some love." The crowd complied, but it was half-hearted, the room still reeling from the drama. Social media was already ablaze, with clips of the confrontation going viral, fans and critics dissecting every word, every gesture. Some praised Meghan for standing up to Andy's perceived shade, calling her walk off a power move, while others accused her of overreacting, unable to handle the heat of Bravo's clubhouse. The narrative was spiraling, just as Meghan had warned, her words about being twisted into a caricature proving prophetic. Andy, sensing the moment slipping, tried to pivot. "Let's talk about Meghan's show, it's got heart, y'all." But the audience wasn't ready to move on, their energy still tied to the clash. Backstage, Meghan was whisked away by her team, the paparazzi already swarming the studio exits, hungry for a soundbite. The producers, now in damage control mode, cued a pre-taped segment, but the crowd wasn't buying it. They wanted more of the raw, unfiltered chaos they'd just witnessed. Andy, ever the showman, powered through, cracking jokes about his housewives and teasing the next guest, but his usual charm felt strained. The internet was merciless, with hashtags like #Meghan vs Andy and #Was Out Down trending within minutes, alongside memes of Meghan's bar slam and Andy's stunned expression. The confrontation had tapped into a larger cultural nerve via royal versus reality TV, authenticity versus spectacle, trust versus betrayal. For Meghan, it was a stand against being reduced to a Bravo soundbite, a moment of defiance that would fuel her narrative of resilience. For Andy, it was another night in the clubhouse, where his provocative style sometimes pushed guests to the edge. As the show wrapped, Andy signed off with a wry smile. "Thanks for watching, Bravo fans. Come back tomorrow or maybe we'll keep everyone on set." The crowd laughed, but the moment belonged to Meghan's walk-off, a shocking exit that would dominate headlines for weeks. The studio lights dimmed, and the audience filed out, still buzzing about the day Meghan Markle exploded on Watch What Happens Live via only to be kicked off in a blaze of regal fury.